Hello, my dear students. I welcome you all for this communication theory lecture series. Today we are going to see about SSBSE modulation. Before we are going to see this SSBSE modulation, we have to know about what is modulation. Modulation is defined as the process by which some parameter of a high frequency signal termed as carrier is varied in accordance with the information signal. Here the carrier is supposed to carry the message signal or the information from the transmitter to receiver. The signals containing information or intelligence to be transmitted or referred to as modulating signals. What is the need of modulation? The baseband signals are incompatible for direct transmission. For such a signal to travel longer distances, its strength has to be increased by modulating with a high frequency carrier wave, which doesn't affect the parameters of the modulating signal. The antenna used for transmission had to be very large if modulation was not introduced. The range of communication gets limited as the wave cannot travel a distance without getting distorted. So these are the need of modulation. Because of these reasons only they have developed this modulation. Next we are going to see about the advantages of modulation. So the advantages of modulation are it is easy of radiation, adjustment of bandwidth, reduction of antenna size, there is no signal mixing, increased communication range, multiplexing of signals is possible, possibility of bandwidth adjustments, and it improves the quality of reception. These are some of the advantages of modulation. Next, we will move on to types of modulation. So, what are the types of modulation? Modulation is classified into two types. One is analog modulation, and the one is digital modulation. Analog modulation is nothing but continuous wave modulation and pulse modulation. Analog modulation is classified into two types. That is continuous wave modulation and pulse analog modulation. Continuous wave modulation is classified into two types, amplitude modulation and angle modulation. Similarly, that pulse analog modulation is classified into two types. One is analog modulation and that one is digital modulation. This analog modulation is having three types: PAM, PWM and PPM. PAM is nothing but pulse amplitude modulation and PWM is nothing but pulse width modulation. PPM is pulse position modulation. Similarly, in digital modulation, it is having four different types: PCM, DM, ADM and DPCM. PCM is nothing but pulse code modulation. DM means delta modulation, ADM means adaptive delta modulation, and DPCM means differential pulse code modulation. Coming to the amplitude modulation, it is having four different types. One is DSB-FC, second one is DSB-SC, third one is SSB-SC, and fourth one is VSB. This DSB is nothing but double sideband full carrier, and another one is nothing but double sideband suppressed carrier. Third one is SSB-SC single sideband suppressed carrier, and fourth one is vestigial sideband modulation. These are the four different types of amplitude modulation. In angle modulation, it is classified into two types. One is phase modulation and the other one is frequency modulation. So we can see the types of amplitude modulation in detail. So this double sideband suppressed carrier modulation is called as this DSBSC, right? In this DSBSC, the transmitted wave consists of only the upper and lower sidebands, but the channel bandwidth requirement is the same as before. Second one is a single sideband. In this single sideband, as the name suggests, it will be having only one sideband, whether it may be upper sideband or the lower sideband. Why this single sideband modulation is used means to translate the spectrum of the modulating signal to a new location in the frequency domain. And third one is vestigial sideband modulation. In this VSB, one sideband is passed almost completely and just a trace of the other sideband is retained. The required channel bandwidth is slightly in excess of the message bandwidth by an amount equal to the width of the vestigial sideband. Next, we will see in detail about this single sideband modulation. First, we will see the definition for single sideband modulation. The process of suppressing one of the sidebands along with the carrier and transmitting a single sideband is called as single sideband suppressed carrier. So, what they are telling here, as the name suggests, here only one sideband will be present. It may be either upper sideband or lower sideband. So this is the plot for this SSB modulation. And there are some mathematical expressions for this SSB modulation. So let us consider the mathematical expression for the modulating and the carrier signal. So the modulating signal expression will be m of t is equal to am cos 2 pi fm into t. Similarly for carrier signal, c of t is equal to ac cos 2 pi fct. We can represent this equation for SSB SC wave as S of t is equal to AM into AC divided by 2 into cos 2 pi Fc plus Fm into t for upper sideband. Similarly for lower sideband, S of t will be equal to AM into AC divided by 2 and cos 2 pi Fc minus Fm into t. This is for lower sideband. What's the difference between this upper sideband and lower sideband means? This cos 2 pi Fc plus Fm into t for upper sideband, and for lower sideband it is cos 2 pi Fc minus Fm into t. Next we will discuss about this bandwidth of SSB-SC wave. In DSB-SC, the modulated wave contains two sidebands and its bandwidth is 2 FM. But here in SSB-SC, it is having only one sideband because another one sideband is suppressed. That means we will be having the bandwidth for SSB-SC modulated wave as 2 FM divided by 2. We will be getting only FM. Therefore, the bandwidth of the SSB-SC modulated wave is FM. It is equal to the frequency of the modulating signal. Next, we will move on to power calculations of SSB-SC wave. Consider this equation SSB-SC modulated wave S of t, which we have already discussed for the upper sideband and lower sideband. Consider these two equations for calculating the power. So the power of the SSB-SC wave is equal to the power of any one sideband frequency components. So it is given by the formula total power is equal to power in the upper sideband, which is equal to power in the lower sideband. So we know the standard formula for calculating the power of the cos signal is P is equal to Vrms square divided by R. So which can be written as Vm by root 2 the whole square divided by R. This is the case for the upper sideband. So for power in USB, that is nothing but the upper sideband power should be calculated as Am into AC divided by 2 into root 2 the whole square divided by R, which will be equal to Am square AC square divided by 8R. After simplifying the equation, we will be getting the upper sideband power is equal to Am square AC square divided by 8R. Similarly, we will be getting the lower sideband power as same as the upper sideband power. So, the power in the lower sideband will be equal to Am square into AC square divided by 8R. Therefore, the power of the SSB wave is, already we have given the expression, that the equation is total power is equal to power in the upper sideband, which is equal to power in the lower sideband, which will be equal to Am square AC square divided by 8R. Next, what are the advantages of SSB-SE? The advantages are bandwidth or spectrum space occupied is lesser than AM and DSP-SE waves. Next one is power is saved. Then transmission of more number of signals is allowed. High power signal can be transmitted. Less amount of noise is present. Signal fading is less likely to occur. So these are some of the advantages of SSB-SE modulation. There are some disadvantages also in this SSB-SE. The generation and detection of SSB-SE wave is complex process. Next one is the quality of the signal will get affected unless the SSB transmitter and receiver have an excellent frequency. If the transmitter and receiver is not having the frequency excellence, means the signal will be affected. So that is the main disadvantage of this SSB-SE. The next one is applications of SSB-SE. This SSB-SE is used for power saving requirements and low bandwidth requirements in land, air and mobile communications. In point-to-point communications, in radio communications, and not only in that, it is used in television, telemetry and radar communication. In military communications also it is used, such as amateur radio, etc. So these are the applications of SSB-SE. So far we have discussed about this SSB-SE modulation. We will see about the generation of SSB-SE. In this chapter, we will discuss about the modulators which generate SSB-SE wave. We can generate SSB-SE wave using the following two methods. One is frequency discrimination method, another one is phase discrimination method. This frequency discrimination method is otherwise called as filter method. And the second one, phase discrimination method, is classified into two types. One is phase shift method, another one is modified phase shift method, otherwise called as Weaver's method. We will discuss about the frequency discrimination method in detail. This is the most commonly used method to generate the SSB-SE-AM. SSB-SE-AM is nothing but single sideband suppressed carrier amplitude modulation. This method basically consists of a product modulator, otherwise a balanced modulator, and a bandpass filter. This product modulator circuit is used to generate the DSB-SE signals, followed by the sideband filters to remove the unwanted sideband, and a bandpass filter will be there. This will convert the DSB-SE wave into SSB-SE wave. In this product modulator, we will be giving two inputs. One is M of t, another one is the output of the local oscillator. So both the inputs will be passed on to the product modulator. After that, the product modulator will produce us the output, which is nothing but the DSB-SC wave. That DSB-SC wave is passed on to bandpass filter. This bandpass filter will convert that DSB-SC wave into SSB-SC wave. Select the frequency range of the bandpass filter as the spectrum of the desired SSB-SC wave. This means the bandpass filter can be tuned to either upper sideband or lower sideband frequencies to get the respective SSB-SC wave, which can have upper sideband or lower sideband. For the satisfactory performance, the system should satisfy the two requirements. The bandpass filter should be same as that of the desired sideband. And the second point is the separation between the pass band and stop band in the filter should not exceed twice the maximum frequency component present in the baseband. Initial modulation is taking place in the product modulator at low frequency because the difficulty of making adequate sideband filters at higher frequencies. So for transmitting high frequencies, the Q factor of the tuned circuit must be very high. After a particular limit only, the increase in Q is not possible. So we are using some mechanical filters here. Here the mechanical filters are often used because of having this following advantages. So what are the advantages will be there if you are using mechanical filters means it will be small size, good bandpass characteristics and very good attenuation characteristics and adequate upper frequency. In this frequency discrimination method, the mixer is followed by some linear amplifiers. Here the class C is not used because it will distort the signal. So class A is less efficient. So class B is used here for this frequency discrimination method. So next we will discuss about this phase discrimination method. In this phase discrimination method, already I have told you that it is classified into two types. One is phase shift method, another one is Weaver's method. So now we will see about this phase shift method in detail. This is the block diagram for phase shift method, otherwise this phase discrimination method. See here, two product modulators are there and two 90-degree phase shifters are there and a local oscillator and a summing amplifier is there. The phasing method avoids the primary disadvantages of the filter method. That is nothing but what are all the disadvantages occurred in the frequency discrimination method will be carried out here. So they have designed this phase shift method. So this requirement of a sideband filter with a narrow transition band, it cannot be used at very low or very high frequencies. This method does not have any sideband filters and the primary modulation can be done at the transmitting frequency. Then how this unwanted sideband will be removed? The unwanted sideband can be removed by generating the components of the sideband out of phase. If the undesired sideband is upper sideband, then the two upper sideband are generated such that they are 180-degree out of phase with each other so that USBs add with each other and cancel out each other. When two undesired sideband components are added means they cancel each other with only the presence of desired signal. Right? So here two product modulators and two phase shifters are used in this method. One of the modulator will receive the input signal directly. Another one receives with a phase shift of 90 degree. The carrier signal is passed through the second modulator with a phase shift of 90 degree, and the another modulator receives the signal directly, right? So it is having two modulators. One is accepting the signal directly, another one is accepting the signal with 90-degree phase shifter. Here the carrier signal is cancelled out in this circuit by both the product modulators, and the unwanted sidebands cancel at the output of the summing amplifiers. So what we have discussed so far is given here. We will discuss once again. So that is, the block diagram consists of two product modulators and two 90-degree phase shifters, one local oscillator and one summer block, right? So the product modulator produces an output which is the product of two inputs. The 90-degree phase shifter produces an output which has a phase lag of 90 degree with respect to the input. So the local oscillator is used to generate the carrier signal. The summer block produces an output which is either the sum of the two inputs or the difference of the two inputs based on the polarity of inputs. Here in the derivation part, the modulating signal AM cos 2 pi Fm of t is for modulating signal, and for the carrier signal it is AC cos 2 pi FCT, or directly applied as inputs to the upper product modulator. So the upper product modulator produces an output which is the product of these two inputs. What are these two inputs? One is modulating signal, another one is carrier signal. So the upper product modulator output will be multiplication of these two signals, modulating signal and carrier signal. So the equation is S1 of t is equal to AM AC divided by 2 cos 2 pi FC plus FM into t plus cos 2 pi FC minus FM into t. The modulating signal and the carrier signal are now again phase shifted by 90 degree by minus 90 degree before applying as inputs to the lower product modulator. So the lower product modulator produces an output which is the product of these two inputs. That means S2 of t is equal to AM into AC cos 2 pi FM t into 90 degree plus cos 2 pi FMT plus 90 degree and cos 2 pi FCT minus 90 degree. Therefore, S2 of t will be equal to AM into AC sin 2 pi FM into t and sin 2 pi FC into t. Therefore, S2 of t is equal to AM into AC divided by 2 cos 2 pi FC minus FM into t minus cos 2 pi FC plus FM into t. Now, we have to add these two outputs through the summing amplifier. So S1 of t and S2 of t outputs equations are going to be added in order to get the SSB-SE modulated wave, right? S of t is having a lower sideband. So S of t equation will be equal to AM into AC divided by 2 cos 2 pi FC plus FM into t plus cos 2 pi FC minus FM into t plus the next term is for second modulator output AM into AC divided by 2 cos 2 pi FC minus FM into t minus cos 2 pi FC plus FM into t. Altogether we will cancel the terms whatever it is possible. Then the remaining terms will be AM into AC cos 2 pi FC minus FM into t. So now we have to subtract S2 of t from S1 of t to get the SSB-SE modulated wave which is having the upper sideband. That means after subtracting S2 of t minus S1 of t, we will get the expression as S of t is equal to AM into AC cos 2 pi FC plus FM into t. Hence, by properly choosing the polarities of inputs at summer block, we will be getting the SSB-SE wave, which will be having the upper sideband or a lower sideband, right? So as a conclusion, if it is a single sideband suppressed carrier means one of the sideband will be suppressed and any one sideband will be present, whether it may be upper sideband or lower sideband. If upper sideband is present means lower sideband will be suppressed. If lower sideband is present means upper sideband will be suppressed. And the last one is we have to discuss about the Weaver's method, otherwise called as the modified phase shift method. So Weaver's method is otherwise called as the modified phase shift method. So in this Weaver's method, this is another method for generating this SSB-SE modulation. This is the block diagram for Weaver's method. This third method, which was originally described by Donald K. Weaver in 1956, so it is termed as Weaver's method. Before that, it was called as the modified phase shift method only, right? Since it was developed by this Donald K. Weaver in 1956, the name was Weaver's method. This Weaver's method consists of 4 balanced modulators, 2 carrier signal generators, 2 audio low pass filters and 2 90-degree phase shift networks. So these phase shift networks can be replaced by using a pair of quadrature oscillators. In the first stage, it makes an IQ modulation with F0 at the center of the audio band. The filtered output of the mixers are given by the signals V1 of t and V2 of t. In the second stage, the two mixer outputs given the equation 1 and equation 2 are IQ modulated with the RF carrier, and it is followed by a summing or difference circuit which generates the desired sideband signal, that is your equation for V3 of t and V4 of t. So V3 of t will be equal to 1 by 2 cos 2 pi f0 minus fm of t into cos 2 pi fct, and V4 of t will be equal to 1 by 2 sin 2 pi f0 minus fm of t into sin 2 pi fct. How it is your equation number 3 and 4. So these are the waves produced. This is nothing but the amplitude spectrum of the baseband signal. First one is, second one is for double sideband signal, and third one is for upper single sideband signal, that is for upper single sideband signal, and the last one is for lower single sideband signal. So altogether we have derived 4 different equations. From the equation 3 and 4, we can come to a conclusion that the addition operation will yield the upper sideband while the subtraction will yield the lower sideband. So this is about your Weaver's method. So far what we have discussed is, we have discussed 2 methods. One is frequency discrimination method, another one is phase discrimination method. In phase discrimination method, we discussed about 2 types. One is phase shift method, another one is modified phase shift method or Weaver's method. So next we will see about this applications of SSB. So this SSB is used in point-to-point radio telephone communication. SSB is used in telegraph system. It is used in police wireless communication, and it is used in VHF and UHF communication. Thank you all.